Hey there, Legal Tea listeners. This is your host, Jenny Roselle. Today we're on the estate planning of the rich and famous topic, and for today's episode, we're going to be diving into what happened or what has happened estate-wise following the passing of the famous teen pop musician Aaron Carter, who is known for his songs like I Want Candy, That's How I Beat Shaq, and Aaron's Party. His brother, who is arguably more famous than Aaron, is Nick Carter from the very famous boy band Backstreet Boys. As always, let's talk a little bit about Aaron as a person to learn a little bit more about him. According to his Wikipedia page, Aaron was born in December 1987. So yes, he was a youngin' when he passed away. His family consisted of his parents, Jane and Robert, and siblings, Nick, Angel, who was Aaron's twin sister, Bobby, and Leslie. His parents ended up divorcing many years later in 2004, and actually, sadly, Aaron found out about his parents' divorce a mere 1 hour before filming a show on MTV called MTV Cribs, which was a show that allowed normal people like us to see where and how celebrities lived. So we got to see their fancy houses, fancy cars, all that sort of stuff. Right before MTV Cribs came over to film an episode on Aaron, that's when he found out about his parents divorcing. That's sad. And in other family-related news, according to a People magazine article by Jack Irvin and Steve Helling, his sister Leslie died of an overdose in 2012, and his dad Robert died of a heart attack in 2017. Speaking of his parents, as I described him a second ago, he was a teen pop star, and his biggest hits, I Want Candy, That's How I Beat Shaq, and Aaron's Party, came out when he was under the age of 18. For that reason, his parents were in charge of his business and management decisions and financials. In a Huffington Post news article by Lisa Capretto, Aaron claimed his parents were supposed to be putting 15% of his money, of his earnings, into an account for his benefit. And then when he turned 18, he said, quote, I got like $2 million. I should have had at least $20 million in my account, end quote. He further shared, quote, there was a lot of neglect on my parents' part. They didn't do a lot of things right, end quote. It's reported that when Aaron turned 18, he discovered he owed $4 million in tax liens. In an interview with Oprah on a piece she did titled, Where Are They Now?, Aaron shared that his parents did not set aside the 15% of earnings that they were supposed to be doing. He talked to Oprah about the Coogan Act, which, according to a wealthmanagement.com piece by Anna Sulkin, the Coogan Act is a law in California designed to protect child performers and to safeguard a minimum of 15% of the child's gross income, and therefore not reduced by management agent or other fees, for when they reach the age of majority, as well as protect them from exploitation and abuse, end quote. Aaron shared that he actually wanted to create his own version of the Coogan Act and call it the Carter Law. And according to Sulkin's piece, Aaron wanted to do this to protect future young stars by helping them get set up in a way to distribute their earnings to the child in staggered distributions over their adult life. You know, I'm sure what transpired was a he said, she said sort of situation. Who knows if his parents actually did wonky stuff or not? Regardless, what we do know is that Aaron had to end up filing bankruptcy in 2013. So unfortunately, the world got to learn all about Aaron's finances, or lack thereof, at the age of 26. According to a TMZ article, who got access to the bankruptcy court documents, Aaron listed his total assets as $8,232.16. with debt and liabilities totaling over $2.2 million, which included an American Express credit card bill that exceeded $31,000. And that debt liability amount supposedly did not count what he owed to the IRS. Throughout his life, he had a very roller coaster-like relationship with most of his family. With his parents, of course, for example, what he accused them of doing money-wise with his money. His siblings, he accused his sister Leslie and his brother Nick of some rather inappropriate things. And again, like the whole thing involving Aaron, his parents, and his money, I'm sure it's all a classic case of he said, she said, but the thing to know and take away is that he and his family had quite a strained relationship. Aaron, of course, was most known for his music, but through rubbing elbows with other famous musicians, according to his Wikipedia page, he met and dated some big names like Hilary Duff and Lindsay Lohan. His teenage days were definitely in the past, because he dated them when he was literally in his teenage years. But according to a People magazine article by Skylar Caruso, more recently, however, in early 2020, Aaron met Melanie Martin, and they ended up getting engaged in June 2020. Fast forward a little bit of time, and they announced Melanie was pregnant, and they had a child in November of 2021. That child's name is Prince. From the beginning, he and Melanie were definitely on again, off again. And even according to the People magazine, their relationship status at the time of Aaron's passing was unclear. According to his Wikipedia page, on November 5th, 2022, just slightly over a month ago from when this episode will air, Aaron died at the very, very young age of 34 years old. He was discovered in the bathtub by a housekeeper. According to the People magazine article by Irvin and Helling, law enforcement sources shared that Aaron was found deceased in his bathtub, but there were prescription pills and drug paraphernalia in his bedroom. They further shared that they believe he lost consciousness and ultimately drowned. However, that is merely speculation, as the official cause of death is still pending. An autopsy was conducted, and things remain kind of TBD as they wait on toxicology report results. Now, following his passing, according to a Daily Mail article by Jack Newman, it's been confirmed that Aaron did not have an estate plan. So he serves as yet another classic case of not only another celebrity dying without an estate plan, but it was a young celebrity. He died at 34. So some would think that there's a lot of life at that age, but as we all know, life is not guaranteed, which is why it's so important to # do your estate plan. So with Aaron dying without a will, his very modest for a celebrity estate will go by the state of California's intestacy laws, built for those that pass away without a will. Here, it seems that his son, Prince, will receive any equity in Aaron's estate. Since Melanie, his maybe fiancé, and Aaron were not yet married, she has no standing to take under his estate. Though, depending on custodial arrangements with Prince, she may be the one that manages Prince's inheritance from Aaron, if there's anything left after debts. It's really at this point too soon to have definite answers as to who is kind of getting what and who's going to receive anything from Aaron's estate and how they're going to receive it. Like, will Prince, since he's a minor, be set up in some sort of custodial account? And will Melanie be the one that manages it as Prince's surviving parent? And speaking of that, by the way, according to the Daily Mail article, the Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services got involved with Aaron and Melanie, quote, because of the domestic disputes between their tumultuous couple. And ultimately, they removed Prince from their home, end quote. Actually, Prince had been living with Melanie's mother since September of 2022. It doesn't particularly sound like Melanie lost custody, like legally speaking, but at the very least, the Department of Children and Family Services was involved. But we'll have to see what the court decides to do with anything that Prince will receive. Will they put it under Melanie's management or not? Only time will give us those answers. Despite Aaron's attorney's high recommendation due to having a minor child, Aaron just never did any estate planning. Though that feels like it's often the case with these celebrities that do not have any sort of estate plan. I remember talking about, I think it was Prince, on a past Legal Tea episode, that I'll just never understand how so many celebrities are surrounded by lawyers. Lawyers likely review their contracts. They're likely, assisting them through legal proceedings like divorce and custody arrangements and bankruptcy. Lawyers are always around these kind of people. And as much as these lawyers do or do not scream from the rooftops about these celebrities getting their estate planning done, at some point, the celebrity has to take ownership and get it done. And some do, some don't. And we see both types here on Legal Tea, huh? So what can we learn from Aaron and what's going on recently with his estate? Well, a lot, really. First and foremost, if you are above the age of 18 and or have minor children, you need an estate plan. I don't care if you have negative net worth, to be frank. Who do you want dealing with the after-death stuff? Like, who's in charge? Or even if you have not passed away, what if something happens? You fall, boink your head, and now you need someone to make healthcare and/or financial decisions for you. You also need a power of attorney for financial affairs and power of attorney for healthcare decisions. I think too many people think, I don't really have an estate. I don't need a plan. And that's just wrong. And something else we can learn from Aaron. Well, as described in the wealthmanagement.com article, Aaron was quite vocal about his mental health struggles and addiction struggles. And some attribute many of his outbursts and past comments about various family members. Those were directly related to those struggles. As we all saw get plastered all over the news, Britney Spears' guardianship shined a big old light on guardianships and when they're appropriate and when they may not be. As the wealthmanagement.com article points out, and I agree with, those that battle significant mental health issues or addiction issues, they may need professional assistance in managing their financials and maybe making decisions on their finances. Though oftentimes those individuals refuse to accept help. A guardianship would have probably been unnecessary and probably not even granted if someone attempted to pursue guardianship over Aaron. Though, he could have had someone else, even if it was a professional and not his family, assist in financial and legal decision-making through a power of attorney or a trust. In those endeavors, not only would he have possibly gotten help with managing all of his financial affairs, and heck, maybe he could have avoided filing bankruptcy back in 2013, but he probably would have been encouraged to create some sort of device like a will or trust to pass assets cleanly to his son Prince. Then, we may not be here today talking about him on Legal Tea. Again, you can lead someone to the water, but it's up to them to drink it. Okay, let's wrap this episode up. Next week, we're back to a cautionary tale episode where we talk about real-life clients, real-life cases, real-life facts that I or my office have actually worked on. And during that episode, we're going to be talking about disinheriting people. Just to make sure that people you don't want to get your money, don't get it. And we'll talk about stories where disinheriting has gone really well and where it's gone not so well. So tune in for that next week. Until then, Legal Tea listeners, take care and be well.